So apparently Asmongold is coming out very much in favor of Blizzard right now, in regards to recent shit that happened. I say recent shit. If for those who don't know, a few years ago, Blizzard Entertainment got hit with a series of lawsuits about sexual misconduct and just having a frat boy culture that was very oppressive towards women. And it caused the internet to be very, very divided on how they viewed Blizzard Entertainment in general. And apparently, even though it's been a couple years since those lawsuits have already panned out, we are still seeing stuff about that now. I'm also going to close out of League of Legends because I am hearing all kinds of stuff over there, and people DMing me to play League of Legends is a very bad distraction. Said Asmongold. All right, I'm going to go mend my pants and go for a run so I don't have to listen to Asmongold. You know what, Zord? That is a perfectly valid thing to do. Said Asmongold has always been a misogynist, so I'm not shocked. Yup. Okay, let's take a listen, see what's going on here.
In case you didn't know, all of the allegations of sexual misconduct, abuse, harassment, and quote, frat boy culture were entirely fake, and the state of California even admitted that there was no evidence substantiating any of the claims.
All right, so I actually have the information pulled up for this. Blizzard was not found guilty of misconduct, but it's because the case didn't go to trial. Like, when you say that, oh, there was no evidence substantiating the claims, that is an understandable statement, but a lot of that is because the discovery process was not fully done. Like, when you have a settlement, and in this case, Blizzard settled for $54 million, was it? Yeah, they settled for $54 million. $46 million of that went to a fund that was meant to compensate female employees who worked at the company between 2015 and 2021, and the remaining funds went to cover legal fees. So despite the fact that no admission of guilt had to happen here, the settlement happened specifically. So didn't he also get a girlfriend recently? Yeah, I think he did. I feel sorry because there is a non-zero amount of cheese on that man's private parts. And I feel sorry for the person who is involved with that. Is that any of the context on that, considering it can be interpreted as an edgy joke based on the information alone? He also went on record to say war crimes are based. So if we're talking about what happened with Asmongold, his position is that war crimes don't exist. Because ultimately the people who are in the position of power to prosecute people for war crimes are the people who are winning the wars in the first place. And that there are certain actions that he thinks are entirely based that also are considered war crimes. Because the U.S. government has done them to people who are immigrants. Like, that's what that was. I think it was specifically in response to us double tapping the boats south of Florida, was when he said that. So I don't think that was just him doing an edgy joke. I think that was like an honestly held belief. That said, even though Blizzard avoided a guilty verdict, unfortunately, or fortunately, that does not mean that nothing happened. It just means that we are in settlement mode.
The entire controversy around Blizzard was set up by California to force the company to stop hiring white men, using Me Too allegations to strong-arm them.
Right. And if we find that Blizzard Entertainment has hired white men from 2022 into 2026, we will likely find that that is bullshit. I don't think that there was actually a cabal of people, and I don't think you can prove that there was a cabal of people in California that were just sitting there going,
yes, we need to make sure that Whitey no longer is employed in the video game industry.
I don't think that happened. I think your tinfoil hat is just a little too tight, if that's the case. Just a little bit.
Some of the accusations were so bizarre and insane that they included theft and consumption of breast milk during work hours.
Yeah, that was the one that was attributed to Grums, wasn't it?
A rape room named after Bill Cosby.
All right, so no. The rape room allegation was not that Blizzard Entertainment had a rape room named after Bill Cosby. That allegation, this is how they do this. They make things sound more ludicrous so that it is easier to dismiss them. But that allegation specifically was that during one event where they had paid for hotel rooms, one of the hotel rooms was called the Cosby Suite. That is the specific version of that event. Said, ew, what the fuck? Yes, it is still bad, but it's different than Blizzard Entertainment had a rape room named after Bill Cosby. That is a different statement to there was a suite that, for some reason, by an amount of the employees, was called the Cosby Suite during a event where they had a hotel room. Jessica says, why would anybody do that? Because people are weird. Did you know that Rape Sloth was a very popular meme on the internet in 2011? Because people on the internet are stupid and edgy and dumb. Jessica says, bro, what? Yeah, you didn't know that? This is an old-ass meme. This is an old-ass meme. I said Pedo Bear. Yep, Pedo Bear's a thing, too. Pedo Bear's a thing, too. But here's a meme from that time. Like, if you ever want to know why people do stupid, edgy shit, please remember that we are the society that makes memes like this. Like, yes, it's gross. Yes, it's wildly inappropriate. Yes, it's disturbing. But the last thing it should be at this point for anybody is surprising. So I thought stupid, edgy shit like this was from 4chan. Right, but what happens when it breaks containment? So, like, a lot of this stuff starts on either 4chan in B or poll or r/9k, or it'll start on some of the more edgy sides of Reddit. But once it breaks containment and goes on to Twitter and Facebook and other places, like, this is the type of shit that broke containment all the time. So, I am not surprised that somebody decided that it would be funny to call a room the Cosby Suite. It's disgusting, it's terrible, and it is in reference to a violently immoral act. But the last thing it is to me is surprising.
Sexual harassment to the point of an employee ending her life. All of these claims were essentially a theater performance over the fact that only 1 in 5 Blizzard employees were women.
Right. So it can be both an argument that more women should be hired, and also it can be an argument that there's legitimate grievances there. Pan says, I miss the days when edgy shit like this was only between close friends playing COD. I've never lived in a world where that was the case. I've always been on the internet like enough to see this shit break containment. Jessica says that shitty site still isn't shut down yet. 4chan? I don't think you've actually been to 4chan then. Like, I will say this, maybe a good portion of 4chan is actively wholesome. There's a lot of terrible places in it because it is an anonymous website. It is an anonymous website, and there are places on it, there on that image board that are awful. Like, again, poll, r/9k, B. Those are the places that you do not want to frequent if you do not want if you do not want non-wholesome content, let's just say. B is the random one. You'll find anything on there, and I mean anything, and that's bad. r/9k, you're going to find people who were talking about their wants to do school shootings on there. And then on poll, that's the politically incorrect channel. You're going to find the alt-right there. Like, but 4chan is not solely made out of those places. There's other places there than just that. It's like saying Twitter is all Nazi people when Axo is there. And I don't think Axo's a Nazi. In fact, I don't even think that she would ever even cosplay the fucking uniform. Or they would ever cosplay the uniform. Said Twitter has hedgehogs kissing. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Twitter has the Joe Rogan experience. But, like, you're right. Twitter does exist, and that's where you're going to find this. So gender is when the government does stuff. When the government does a lot of stuff, that's transgender. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, and transgender is like Ferrari. We're gonna have to pull that one up too. Fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it.
Like when you drive one Ferrari. Only when you try it, you know the difference between a Ferrari or a normal car. Transgender is like Ferrari. And I like Ferrari.
There you go. Never forget. Never forget. Every action you do can be classified as a transaction. Oh my god. Anyways.
As a result, Blizzard agreed to pay roughly $18 million in fines and set up HR hiring practices that would discriminate against white men.
You know that having hiring practices that would bring more women in does not necessarily discriminate against white men? Like, this is the thing when we're describing equity. To anybody who has been in power or who has been in the majority, anything that seems to take any of that majority status away from them is seen as an attack. Just trying to hire more women at Blizzard does not discriminate against white men. I'm fucking sorry.
Internal messages between California Civil Rights Division officials showed the entire thing was a ploy to send a message to the industry to literally ruin video games.
What? That's the kind of opinion I can't even substantiate a little bit. I can't. Again, I don't think that somebody was sitting in the middle of a California courtroom going,
"We need to make video games bad for everyone. Make sure that EA is able to raid video games as service. Make sure that everybody thinks Raid Shadow Legends is the best video game of all time. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it live."
I don't think that happens. I don't think that fucking happens. None of that happens. Jesus Christ. Listen, send a message to the industry to literally ruin video games. So, if you have send a message to the industry in quotes, and then you have literally ruin video games outside of the quotes, I don't think that literally ruin video games is part of the quote anymore. Oh god, not Raid Shadow Legends. I don't like gacha games, so I don't want to play them, but why is he butthurt? I don't know. Jesus fucking Christ.
Wow. How about that? That's crazy. I don't even know what to say.
Let's read it. Let's read it, because apparently you don't know what to say, but maybe we've got some words. By 2021, Kish had perfected the shakedown model and picked a new target, Activision Blizzard, the video game giant that owns titles like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty. The CRD sued the company, alleging, among other things, that it had discriminated against female employees and cultivated frat boy culture. According to a criminal referral that we obtained, which was filed by a group tied to former Activision CEO Robert Kotick, the pretext for the department's actions was an earlier federal complaint. So it happened before this agency was involved? That doesn't exactly lend credence to this particular post, which concluded that charging Activision would send a message to the industry as a whole. Okay, send a message to the industry as a whole. There's the quotation. Okay, where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of the quote? Where is it? Where's the part that I should see? Where is it? Because there's information here that I should be seeing, right? What is the message they want to send? Because the claim here is that it was about making video games worse. But I don't think hiring more women makes video games worse. The original lawsuit included 10 of Activision's employees. That over 9,000 were already in there. The complaint claimed, among other things, that only about 20% of the company's employees were female, and some of its employees riffed about their sexual encounters, that a female employee had committed suicide. Okay, he's covering up the rest of it there. So, the suicide one, I believe, did get retracted, but let's see.
Do you remember, somebody in chat said this, do you remember when I said that gamers are the most oppressed group in society? It's not women, certainly not women. It's not gay people, it's not trans, it's not disabled people, it's gamers. Gamers are the most openly discriminated against group.
So, on the one hand, I think that is just him making an edgy joke. But on the other hand, we don't write legislation en masse to fuck over just gamers. That's not a thing we do. We don't write legislation on the whole to revoke women's ability to play video games. We write legislation to block trans people from getting HRT and to block women from being able to determine what happens with their own bodies. Specifically. I know that he's trolling, but do you know how many people are going to use this as their argument for gamers unironically being the most oppressed people? Like, I think that Asmon just irresponsibly wields his platform in general. Said if the action would result in jail time, anything that would get the alphabet agencies knocking on your door. Said, look, it's because gamers have a large Venn diagram with disabled, transgender, and homosexual. Oh my god. Yeah, even the DFEH lawsuit in regards to the suicide was also settled out of court. So the details were never litigated. They were never proven in a trial. The incident itself, like, the press looked into it a lot, but it was settled. And because it was settled out of court, that doesn't mean you get to make the statement. So Japagia says that has to be the most unemployed argument in history. I would just laugh at the person. I mean, okay. I wish I could say it's the most sexless argument in here. Said, oh, no one game isn't to my, it looks like I'll have to play the literal thousands of others. So just as an autistic adult, I'll have a word with that, Roach. I don't know. Again, it rides the line between... So here's an issue. It is an edgy joke, and sure, it probably shouldn't be taken seriously. At the same time, I wonder at what point do you just use your use of ironic humor as a way to hide behind the actions that you really want to happen? So, for instance, I don't really want anybody to go and firebomb a data center tomorrow, but I will always say the joke that firebombing a data center is a form of self-care. And I'm not willing to let go of that joke. I think that joke's really funny. And maybe I'm incorrect and wrong, but I don't think that a data center is a victim. So you could probably criticize me for the same thing there. But from what I've seen, Asmon gives me Reddit mod behavior. Am I close? Maybe, but I don't know what Reddit mod behavior is supposed to be. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever truly understood any of the statements that say it gives me Discord mod, it gives Reddit mod, it gives Reddit. I don't get that. Like, that seems like one of those things where everybody has this own internal idea of what that's supposed to mean, but they refuse to actually articulate what it means, and so everybody just nods their heads. Milady. Jesus Christ.
We're not Jews, it's gamers. We're having our spaces colonized, and they're getting mad at us for not liking it.
Uh-huh. Right. Says the millionaire gamer. I love how when I look in the comment section of this, one of the first things I see here is, actually, the most oppressed are the pre-born. 3,000 plus are being legally murdered every day. I think the person who owns that Twitter account should have been aborted, or their mom should have gargled. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.